right, hello. This is video 8 in our series of discussions about paranormal activities and occurrences and research. We are in the car. Still in the car. And it is still October 2nd. As I've said before, we'll just get it out of the way because as people watch these videos and as we go further and further into different topics, it's always good to say that the study of and the documenting of all sorts of paranormal activity, whether it's in the spiritual realm or in the creature realm, it's more opinion and experience than concrete fact, because it can change and shift so rapidly. And our opinion that we're discussing is conversational. It's to start a topic, to have things talked about in the comment section, and eventually in a video that will address those comments. It's to learn from each other. Lisa and her either family or friends or a combination of both have been studying, looking into and investigating the paranormal for years. They do not have a formal education, no college degree or anything of the such, but everything that they have learned has come from personal experience. So through the years, if you have enough personal experience on something, you start to form your own opinions. Some of the things that I've asked her have actually made her pause and think about it for a second, because I, who do not have a background in these things, think of things from the perspective of someone that doesn't know at all, is curious about. So as we film, there will be times that I will either question or pause her because I either need clarity or I've thought of something that she hasn't addressed that doesn't make sense to me, and I need her to explain it if she can. So in our last video, and actually the last 2 or 3, we have been speaking more about the non-human manifestations of the paranormal. And that's a good way of putting it, I think, that they are not past humans, which is another phrase I have used. They're not ghosts or souls or spirits. They're things that were never human, that people may interpret as a ghost, or may say, I have a haunting of a this, and they reach out for help, whether it be from a psychic, a witch doctor, a shaman, a team of paranormal investigators, a medium. They're seeking help because something is happening in their world they can't explain and they want to stop. And oftentimes, according to Lisa's opinion, which I agree with now that we've talked it over, so many times people who are experiencing these things jump to, it's a spirit, I'm being haunted, it's a ghost, it's my great Aunt Mabel, it's my Uncle Fred, it's somebody who's trying to reach out from the beyond. And sometimes it is. But in past videos, we've discussed that it's the opinion of many investigators that it takes such an exorbitant amount of energy for a past human ghost to reach out and muster the ability to move something or communicate, that often it is a non-human entity. We've discussed poltergeists. We've begun to discuss shadow figures, which is a phrase coined in recent past. Slim man, shadow figures, spooks, shades, shadows. They're a term that people use for other things. And often, because now the paranormal is televised, and there are many opinions on the teams that are televised,
it's becoming more commonplace to
use those phrases.
Give these things a name.
And so we discussed in the part 1 and part 2 of the last video that one of the things that a good team will do, and you'll see that either in your own experience when you bring someone in, or in the more valid televised teams, that they're going in with almost a negative outlook on what they're going to find. They want to debunk. They want to prove that the moving door or the scratch on the back or the strange occurrence is actually something very normal, because the few times it is paranormal is so extraordinary in everyday life that they want to lend it validity. They want to let people know that these things do happen. We're not just making this up every day, day in and day out. And one of the ways they do that is to debunk what could be a very normal occurrence. So towards the end of the last video, we talked, Lisa talked with emotion about how extremely important it is to debunk. And we strayed from the topic of shadow men a little bit as she ventured into debunking. But as I mentioned at the end of the last video, there's a reason for that. And the reason is, I am assuming, and I'm about to be explained to, that a true thin man, slim man, shadow figure, shade, shadow, whatever you're going to call it, is not something that you want popping up in your house on an everyday basis. It's not to be taken lightly. And so that's where we are now. So I'll let Lisa continue because she has her own thoughts and theories surrounding shadow men.
Yeah. Okay. So, shadow people, shadow beings, shadow men, thin men, slim men, whatever you want to call it, are definitely not something that is a typical occurrence, a daily occurrence. It's something you do not want to encounter. Paranormal investigators do not want to encounter them. Which is why debunking, as she said, is so important, and investigation is so important, because you want to be clear, very clear, going into any investigation, what you're dealing with. Because if I'm going into an investigation in your house and you're saying, oh my God, we have this shadow figure, and we're seeing it really almost every day, it's a daily occurrence, okay, I'm going to take 3 steps back and be like, okay, and really start investigating your property, your claims of other people who have lived in that house or have experienced this so-called shadow person. And then I'm going to deem on my own abilities if I want to take this on. Chances are, if it is, and I think based upon what I found out, it is a true shadow person, I'm going to turn it over to more of a religious type person who does paranormal.
Why is that?
Shadow men, people, shadow beings are not anything you want to mess with. Like I said, they're typically evil, malicious. Their intent is to cause panic, mayhem, chaos. They do have the ability to manifest and cause physical harm.
In your opinion, what are they?
They, in my opinion, a shadow person is something that has never been human.
Okay.
It is some form of energy that has been around for decades, hundreds of thousands of years. And it has developed the ability through all this time to learn how to control the energy it has to do these things, i.e. scratch people, haunt, scare, slap, be very physical, be very intimidating. So that's it has never been human. It feeds off the fear of humans and the fear and the panic and the chaos of the situation it brings. The negativity, it feeds off a negative energy. So it is something that gets its power from the negative.
Hurting mentally or physically?
Yes, mentally, physically, emotionally. These type of entities or energies have the ability to affect the living in numerous ways. They can give you thoughts of depression. They can manipulate your thinking, your mind, in ways to come up with doing things such as possibly make you so depressed you want to think thoughts of suicide. Because then in this entity's end game is, if it can convince you that you're so depressed or so whatever is wrong in your life, you take your life, then it then in turn can take your energy and bring it into itself and become even stronger. These entities do have some have the ability to physically enter a human, which would lead towards a possession. They have ways of manipulating your systems in your